In my understanding of what a soundscape should be, my initial definition was sounds pertaining to a specific environment, typically outdoors amongst the greenery and shrub, a medley of sound working in harmony. And for me, there has always been this expectation for soundscapes to involve the land. When I think back to the music of the environment, Schaefer talks about how the eye has now become the most important tool when identifying environmental information, that our need for visual cues has surpassed our ability to gather information through hearing alone. So now we've become reliant on our eyes to confirm the validity of a sound. It provides us reassurance. But what happens when we're unable to correctly identify where a sound is coming from, or what is making the sound? For instance, being alone in a house and hearing an unfamiliar sound, a thud or footsteps. Does your sense of hearing immediately become heightened? Does your whole body become an ear? Unless you're already accustomed to these sounds, will you struggle to determine what it is you really heard? Will you begin to question your own thinking? Have your own ears deceived you? So now we can begin to think of this idea when referring to soundscapes. And for the most part, we're able to easily identify familiar sounds. For example, Francisco Lopez's work La Selva, Part 1, renders sounds from a neotropical rainforest. The sounds don't pose as a threat. Although they're amplified, they're still recognised without the need for visuals. So how differently would this work be viewed if the wrong visuals were attached? And how would it change the viewer's understanding of the piece? When I first listened to La Selva, it didn't occur to me that certain sounds were amplified until it was later mentioned. My initial reaction was quite blasé. I experienced the piece only as an environmental soundscape, a rainforest ambience, paying little attention to what was actually going on. Through Lopez's work, there is a clear component of idealism, a romanticised version of what it should be. He has also argued that a recording should not be considered a copy of reality. Because Lopez's work is purely field recordings with no additional modifications, I wonder if it could be said that as we relive a location through its oral environment, does it then become hyperrealistic? It isn't trying to be something else. La Selva, the sound piece, is not La Selva, the reserve. What I can take from both Schaefer and Lopez's understanding of sound and soundscapes is that when we think of sound ecology, it is far more than environmental snippets of sound. It is a collective understanding of the relationships around us. It provides insight into the ever-changing landscapes. It is a reminder of our past and an aid to our future. When we experience the oral richness that an ecosystem has to offer, be it environmental or urban, it is a direct measure of its biodiversity.